Crafton Ingram Shopping Center renovations. I'd like to turn it over to you.
I'm Sam Kamen, and let me introduce the persons from 1204 Corporation. Claire Cayley,
Jackie Cowan for VEBH Architects.
And Krista Baines with PJ Day.
what we'd like to do, first of all, I want to thank the Borough of Crafton for having us here today. And, actually, it sort of feels like Old Home Week, and I don't see a lot of familiar faces, but I'm just telling you, I've represented the COG since the mid-'80s, Ingram for maybe 20-some-odd years, represented Robinson for 30 years, Pensbury, we're still there since late 80s, going out the Greater Pitt Airport. I still have Independence Township, Findlay Township Water, so I'm kind of familiar with the West and what's going on, and presided over most of the explosion in Robinson from the very, very beginning. What we'd like to do today is show you what we're doing at the Crafton Ingram Shopping Center. And what we're trying to do is basically repurpose. And we're trying to do this in accordance with the comprehensive plan as well as good business. Because obviously the comprehensive plan was done with the Borough of Ingram, and we have more than a passing knowledge of what goes on with the comprehensive plan in the Borough of Ingram. And there has been a lot of input from Claire, who happens to be my sister, with the comprehensive plan. And there are some things we can do, some things we can't do, and, but I think we have a pretty exciting concept. I might say that we want to try to coordinate to improve the appearance, and one of the things that happened over the past, let's say 5 years, the phenomenon, is you have a changing demographics, you also have a changing market. Retail is basically gone. Your Sears are going out, you don't see the Kmart's anymore. You see retail is now changed to online. Younger people are not shopping in stores, they go online. In fact, I had a young man in my office, I had him last week, and I said, where did you buy your suit? He said, I bought it online. I said, well, how do you go in and fit your suit? He says, well, I get the size above, the size, my size, the one after. I tried all three on, I sent 2 back. But that's the way of doing business today. It's kind of foreign to us guys who are not used to that. So what we found over there is that it's changed. Retail has changed. Shopping centers have changed. We find that we have to basically change the tenant mix somewhat, because you can't. You have to go and get something. Nobody wants to come to a shopping center, or let me say this: tenants who come to a shopping center are normally people who you can't buy online, and so you now find a lot of service businesses coming in as opposed to retail. On the other hand, retail is still very, very important, and we have a very strong center, which I'm very happy to mention. Although we did have vacancies. Vacancies did create some problems with us, and that's one of the reasons that motivated our going and doing the work. Plus the fact that we think that the last time we bought it was 1987. I couldn't believe it. Whenever I thought, I said, we just did it, but that's 20-some years ago, 30 years ago. So it's time to redo it. Now what I'd like to do is, the team is here. I have my sister, I have the architect, I have PJ Dick who's doing the work. We're ready to go, and what I'd like to have, maybe just start by explaining the concepts of what we're doing. I think what I'd like to do is, and I'll let you decide how to handle it, whether you want to ask questions during, or you want to just hold it. Or maybe I ought to just let them do the presentation and ask questions after everyone's here.
That'd be great.
You're right.
Everybody okay with that?
Jackie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie Cowan. I'm from VEBH Architects, and I'm just going to quickly run through some of the proposed upgrades to the shopping center. I'm going to start at the site plan level, parking lot level. One of the requirements that the owner wanted was to define the drive aisles around the perimeter of the parking lot. So what we're intending to do is in the green areas, we're going to have planted concrete curved islands that will define the triangle bounding the parking lot. One of the other upgrades in the parking lot is we're going to be replacing and upgrading all of the parking lot lighting standards with LED light poles. You'll notice some of the locations will change because of the better coverage with the LED light fixtures. Also in the parking lot, we will be upgrading to today's code-compliant standards for accessible parking. And that will include car and van accessible spaces. In addition to the parking spaces, we'll be adding ADA aisles to the buildings. And at each building, we will be replacing the sidewalk from end of the building to end of the building. So the new sidewalk curb cuts for ADA ramps will coordinate with the new aisles across the drive lanes. Going on to the building level here. This is an overall image of actually the Ingram side, but the concepts for both buildings are the same. This is just an enlarged area here of actually building one in Crafton here. So that view is looking at the PNC Bank here on the corner.
Can we do the whole thing up?
I didn't see those there, but up there. So one of the other important factors for the renovation process was to maintain the covered canopy from end of building to end of building. So we are going to be utilizing all of the existing column locations, but we are going to be removing all of the exterior drive-it system, the EFA system. We're pulling all of that off and replacing it with new framing and new materials. We're currently reviewing color and material selections, brick and stone, with the owner right now. And the intent is to have a similar color scheme across the whole building, but provide changes in elevation and changes in setback to break up the elevation, because as you know, today it's all one long constant elevation. One of the other things that we will be doing is providing lighting at all of the columns along the front here, and new soffit lighting as well. I think one of the final upgrades, we will be replacing all the storefront at all of the tenants along both buildings for a more consistent look, because some of the storefront is original to the 1950s building. Yeah. I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything? Do you want to?
No, why don't I just take some questions at this point? Maybe that's better. I'd just like to ask the questions with respect to the architect first, then I have the construction people for the schedule and have them answer. So do I have any? Yes?
I'm not sure if this is really a question for the architect or not, but you mentioned the changing demographic and the change in marketing for tenants, and I'm just wondering if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, the demographics are that I'm a dinosaur. If I look at some of the younger members here, I look at the Crafton Council, I can still remember when Ed Witt and I used to sit over here, and our shopping patterns are totally different than yours.
We understand that. I think you made that point really, really clearly. But do you have like some target types of businesses that you're looking to attract to the vacancies with this change?
Yeah, actually, I think they dictate who's coming as opposed to what we say. For example, if I could just use the Sears Kmart, one time we had a Kmart here, it was great. But now that whole area has gone out, and now so you're looking for more service type, physician, dentists, doctors.
So you're
You're
gonna be
looking for
marketing
a
to
pet
professionals?
A pet hospital. You're looking for something that you can't buy online.
Okay, and that's what you're gonna be marketing to and trying
Well,
to attract?
well, actually, what I'm trying to attract is somebody here who is a restaurant, because you can't get a restaurant online. Things like that are basically in a strip center like, a strip center like we have. That's where, if you take a look at almost any of any of the centers, that's who's going into them.
So basically, we're talking about repurposing the buildings away from what you would consider shopping center types of
The big box
tenants.
stuff is going in.
Yes, that you're looking to replace it with service and professional.
And also, for example, the restaurant. Those type of things. And I'm not gonna get a Kmart, I'm not gonna get
We understand
these
that.
people down here.
We understand that.
And, you know, we're very fortunate to have the Giant Eagle in a store there that is large enough for them. But I think a look at what happened with Parkway Center Mall, they ended up having to tear the whole thing down.
Well, that was insignificant financial benefit for what they're getting ready to do. So let's not kid anybody about that one.
Well, I still remember going in there years ago with my oldest son, who's now 47, and David Weiss Company, and we walked into the store, and the glasses were rattling, and it was built on a landfill. So those of you who remember David Weiss, the glasses used to rattle whenever you walked in the store, and his eyes just opened up like this. So I think basically what happens here is, insofar as marketing, a center like ours is going to be basically, we're not going to get the big box retail anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to get the smaller stores, these more service-oriented stores, your cleaners, your things like that.
And so you're gonna work on marketing to those types of tenants then?
Yes, I'd love to be able to get a big box, but we're not gonna do it. I'm not gonna get the Gap done here.
Well, you don't have the space for that either.
That's
The
true.
way you've got it set up.
You're not
So
gonna
no,
limit
that-
yourself though to just service
Oh,
oriented.
no.
If a small boutique retailer wanted
Correct.
a space, then that would be available.
It's available.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what happens. And, you know, in one of my other lives, at one time I represented, at that time, Foodland Markets, and then it became Shop and Save, and, you know, they have it down to a science on what they want. They draw a circle, they say how many people are in the circle, and that's what you want to do. And your competition has come basically from Robinson Town Center, the Settlers Ridge. If you, you know, fortunately, we still have the Rite Aid, but you have the Walgreens and the sitting right out in front of the center. So your marketing has changed. And those are the things you have to look at.
So this is sounding kind of like a build it and they will come sort of plan?
Well, the answer is, I think that it's, you know what, it has to be attractive, it has to be nice, it has to be a place where you feel safe and you want to come. That's what you want. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
So with the comprehensive plan, it's really great to hear you mention that at the beginning of the conversation. How can the boroughs help you facilitate what you're doing? Let's say you mentioned my demographic. I'm going to assume that you were talking about the millennial crowd. You know, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. You know, starting their families here in Crafton. You know, I think there is a huge niche to fill in between Crafton and Ingram. And it would be nice to see something like Industry Public House or something along those lines that, you know, something you'd like to have closer to home that you don't have to drive all the way to Robinson to enjoy, something that's in our backyard. And as a person on council, you know, one of my concerns is or one of the things I'd like to do is come up with, you know, a business solution or a way to help people in business such as you that are making these capital investments in the community be successful. So I'm sort of, you know, really humbled by the fact that you're going through this capital campaign, and I'd like to, you know, just hear a little about what we can do for you as well.
Well, the first thing here is, how about signage so that we know where people are? You know, this is the best kept secret in the world. You have to have a GPS to find the center. Unless you know where it is, you can't find it.
Mhm.
So have you got some ideas of where and how that signage would be?
I'd like to see something on near Student and Foster. You know,
Yeah,
this
getting
is
off
where
the
this-
parkway, you know, off the parkway right there by WVE, I actually noticed, I always brag about our signage, but it's sort of funny, going up towards the city, there isn't a sign that says Crafton. It says Green Tree and City of, but there isn't anything that says Crafton Ingram.
And, you know, probably, pardon me for showing my age a little bit on this, but in Robinson Township, whenever you were going on 79, you got off at Moon Run. And people wanted to know who was Moon Run. Yeah. And, you know, it was just, you're living with what happened then.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, there is no sign. You're gonna have trouble finding Crafton. You know, I came down Noble Avenue today, and if I didn't know where I was going, I would be going round and round.
Yeah.
Can
And it's finding Crafton, finding Ingram, finding a way around here, just knowing where the center is. I mean, we're off of Foster Avenue and sides. You have to let people know you're here.
Yep.
There's a spot that I like on Steuben Street. I think it's Linshaw, right by where the park is. We could put a pylon sign there that said Crafton Ingram Shopping Center and direct people in, like by where the giant eagle is there.
Mhm.
It would be fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if the borough owns that or who owns just a little piece of land there.
Good question. Yeah, because let's say when you come straight into Crafton, there's some properties that, for all intents and purposes, they're blighted. And that's what people think of our community, and they drive right on by our shopping center. They don't even realize that we have this neat little, you know, it's actually one of the first shopping, if you look at urban planning,
Number two.
it's number 2 shopping centers along US 22, that corridor. And it's sort of funny that, you know, that it's right here in our backyard, and it's, you know,
We
with a
used to
we'll set
have
the model.
signs.
We've
There used to
succeeded
be
in
signs
spite
out there.
of ourselves.
Say again?
We've succeeded in spite of ourselves.
Right.
So it's something here that signage would be important.
Mhm.
And the other thing here is I think that we have to cooperate with the municipalities. We do our best with Ingram, of course, because they have something, they're meeting every month, and, but, you know, we love to cooperate with Crafton. There are things over here that you can have the merchants, in interaction between the community, getting to know each other, that helps.
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting, a lot of these shopping centers used to be like incubators for businesses that grew. And it seems like if you had the right, you know, marketing campaign or signage, and you were able to bring the traffic from our own residents here. I mean, one of the things is I'm guilty. I don't know how many people are like me that are guilty of, I go to Robinson to shop, I go to Sellers Ridge. I don't even go to the thing in my backyard. Part of it is because, and this is with respect, but it doesn't really appeal to me that, you know, there's just like asphalt island and going to a place that doesn't have a lot of tenants and you know, it's just not very attractive when, let's say, you see what they're building down Bridgeville, and it seems like some of your concepts,
By the way, we represent South Fayette too, so I'm very familiar with
Yeah.
Bridgeville.
yes, okay, yeah. You know, because one of the things, you know, we have Giant Eagle, I don't want to take away from the Giant Eagle, but, you know, it seems as if, you know, there'd be, you know, we have the Giant Eagle and the Save-A-Lot? Or
Yes.
Save-A-Lot. But, you know, in the future, maybe an Aldi or one of those would move in, but the thing is, they already drew their circles around where they cited their stores, and I was curious, why did they skip over us? And it's part of this issue where you mentioned the signage and trying to get the right, traffic driven into it, because it's all about people coming in and out through those door clickers and making transactions happen.
You know,
We
it's
used
kind
to-
it's kind of interesting, if I could give you just a little sideline. It always interests me where people were banking. And when I used to go to the treasurer's office in Robinson, I'd find out all the checks were being written out of the Keys Rocks Bank. That's where they were, the old families, they started in Keys Rocks, they stayed in the Keys Rocks, and they still kept their account there. They were living in Robinson, but they were banking in the other place. And so the thing is that we have a lot of history, we have a lot of people who are here, but again, you don't have that history. You're not gonna stay here in Crafton, you'll go to Robinson to shop because of the mix. It's just the way things are.
Years ago, we had signs that were put up. Like if you come down Steuben Street where the great big triangle is, there was a small sign, directional sign for Crafton Ingram Shopping Center.
It's still there.
We had about 10 of them out there, and over the years they've disappeared. We'd love to put them back. If the borough would help us, we'd make the sign, have the signs made, and be delighted to put them up.
Well, the borough would work with you on that, but you would have to give me a design of the sign where it wanted to be. I mean, are you talking about like putting a sign on a breakaway post and a directional sign, something like that? I mean, we could work with you. We do have a right of way that we would be able to put like a breakaway sign post in there. But like if you're talking illuminated signs, then that's a building permit and that's a whole different ballgame.
No.
But if you're just looking for directional signs, I mean, there are existing signs on Steuben Street, so, with breakaway posts and things like that, we could work with you. We would just need to see a sign, get authorized and approved, and, we could install. Now, I will tell you that right along Steuben Street, we're putting in a rain garden, and hopefully starting this fall. So, we could put in like a cute little sign there if you wanted to incorporate something. It would have to be something, like something environmentally safe or something like that. We're gonna have like interpretive signs on the rain garden. So,
We'd be happy to do whatever you wanted, but we do need people to know that Crafton Ingram Shopping Center exists.
Sure.
And it wouldn't be in our best interest if we were hiding
Right.
quality, services for the community. So that definitely benefit. We're trying to attract people to come in and move into the community. Hey, we have this, wonderful shopping center.
And I think that the fact over here that you're gonna coincide that with the remodeling, that's even more. That could be your, the impetus for it. That's not a problem. And so far as the signage is concerned, although I have no authorization, but I'm sure I do, we'll put it, it's our expense, we'll put it up. It's not gonna cost you anything.
We would just have to send me a proof or whatever, and would have to get the building inspector to take a look at it. And where you would like to put them and things like that, so we could.
Well, actually, I'd like to have your police tell us where it should go, so it's not gonna interfere with traffic, and it's not gonna be a problem.
Police don't really have anything to do with that, that would be more code enforcement.
Code enforcement?
Rob here could probably be the best one to tell you would be a good location for him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I wrote down Linden and Steuben, Foster and Steuben, those are the two key intersections, and probably at the end of the Thornburg Bridge, maybe somebody takes it on Ingram Avenue, coming the other way past Ingram Park.
so, you just tell us where it is that's good and how many, and we'll work with whoever you want. Your planning commission will design it so it looks like it maybe we can have a CI on there and, for Crafton Ingram and if you're gonna do a rain park, if you need some signage over there, that's easy stuff.
Could you speak a little more about the parking lot situation?
I don't know if I let the architect speak.
In what?
So, number of spaces, water management, the rain guard, the plantings, and just how you're trying to break it up a little bit. And
Well, the number of spaces isn't changing. We're not repaving the whole parking lot. I think
Okay.
there are about 900 spaces. I don't have that committed to memory, but I can look in my folder. But yeah, we're not restriping anything. The parking lot is existing. The only thing that we are changing are these currently are painted islands, striped islands around the perimeter. The green ones are the ones that we are encasing in a concrete curb and creating planters. So we're actually creating, pervious as opposed to impervious.
Yeah, one of the things I might mention is, see, I noticed in the comprehensive plan that you talked about reducing the parking requirements in the zoning ordinance. That was one of the things they talked about.
right.
But there are two things in shopping center management you have to worry about. One is the public restrictions, which is your zoning, where you say how you require minimum. But Giant Eagle will require a ratio of spaces. So our private contractual rights exceed your zoning requirements.
Right.
So from that particular standpoint, we're pretty tight with respect to parking with what we have existing at this time. So we have to be very judicious on how we're handling it.
Agreed, and I don't know per your ordinance that we could actually eliminate parking spaces. I think that came up at the last meeting.
So then I guess I'm a little bit confused when earlier in your presentation you talked about making parking spaces to today's standards for more accessibility by the vans. So there was an assumption that that would necessitate reducing some parking spaces.
Did you say vans? Is that what you
Uh,
said?
Yeah, I think
for
you
like
said mini
access
vans.
vans.
I think you're talking handicap there.
Yes, ADA.
Right.
Not necessarily reducing spaces. There are designated spaces out there, but they don't meet today's standards. You're just restriping those couple spaces.
So then the standards don't require more square footage per,
No, what they have works now in terms of quantity, but not the way it's striped. How do I explain this?
It's a
No, I-
The access aisles adjacent to the parking spaces are too small, and some of the spaces are too big.
so
So there's a play
overall,
there.
You're trading the same amount of space, which will not change the handicap, the number of handicap
Correct.
spaces. Okay.
With the only thing that we are, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Part of what we're doing with those spaces is we're also, not only is it striping, it's also slight regrading. I mean, within a %, but that's in order to meet the current ADA and regulations. But we're only doing it at these targeted areas here. Giant Eagle, we don't have that ability to do right now because that's part of Giant Eagle's contractual relationship, but we're only doing those around the perimeter.
So just something to throw out there, and just take it for what it is. I'm firmly a believer of sometimes less is more and more is less. All right, et cetera, and back and forth, and you look at it. And in this case, when you look at the parking line, this is just what we were talking about through the comprehensive plan and talking with our planner. One of the things that we noticed, and when I survey people, because I spent a couple weekends out here talking to people, is you get this overbearing sense of vastness and emptiness, which makes people afraid for some reason. And I was curious if you guys have done any study on that, and how the parking situation plays into driving traffic and patronage. You know, I understand contractual obligations, and obviously anything in ordinance, rules are meant to be written and rewritten. So the reality is there a business case for you guys to explore those ends and figure out maybe would drive traffic to maybe review the configuration in the green space or the layout to sort of give this more intimate sense and community feel more, I'm looking for the right word for the elevation.
It almost looks abandoned because all of the cars, even if they are at specific spots, they're way over there, and all the center is just empty. And it gives you the illusion that it's just abandoned. And so I think based on the comprehensive plan, we were thinking like there were going to be green areas throughout the parking lot, not just the perimeter. Is that how you
Right,
felt?
and I know you guys had your issues, like on the ordinance side, we can work with you on the ordinance side. It's really contractually, can you make the sell to your tenants, your current tenants and future tenants, that less is more in this instance if it's gonna drive traffic numbers? You know, if there's a case to make that case. Because are you at capacity? What's your census look like?
Okay, I can say this to you. We're pretty damn close to capacity insofar as what, for example, a Giant Eagle would require.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would leave that open because if maybe I have to bring a rooster in or something like that, say, take a look at this and see what you think. Ourselves doing it, walking in, they're gonna say you're crazy. Traffic engineer, maybe it works.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing which might help us might be better lighting,
Mm-hmm.
because the lighting down there, I think, is tired.
Yeah.
So lighting might help. But it's open. I'm not saying no to you.
Yeah, well, it's just a compromise. I mean, obviously, I'm vested in getting more people like myself and others down there to shop and make it a welcoming, less intimidating. In my mind, it's a classic model. It is #2 shopping center. There are some great things that happen out of the 50s and 60s, 70s designs, but then there's some things that have changed, and one of these is, you know, it sort of is a model like urban heat island. You know, you've got this sea of asphalt, and how do you break it up and make it more of a, bring it back to human elevation? Because we have gone away from the Sears, Roebuck, you know, big box store, or the Costco center. I mean, you wouldn't put, you know, if you're shopping here, you're not looking for the Costco experience. You're looking for that more intimate experience.
Yeah, and you're looking to be close to the store you're going to. And,
Yeah.
We understand, and one of the problems is the configuration of the V configuration of the center. You know, that's a problem. But that was done in the 60s, and basically that's the only thing we could build at that time.
Yeah.
Just remember.
No, I understand. Thank you.
Will you be sharing your marketing plan as far as how your target is gonna look? I'm just curious, like, besides the fact of online, because I get the whole online, but there still are those shoppers that want to go in and touch it and feel it and not pay for shipping and not have to return it. So, I mean, I'm in retail, so they still come into the store.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, what are the number 1, 2, 3 reasons why they come and leave? I would be curious to know. And then what marketing plan do you plan on doing to attract them?
I will say this to you. Since we have let this out to the real estate community, what we're doing, we have found, how many new tenants? 3?
I've done 3 renewals and 1 lease done. The Radio Shack is gone. They're out of business. T-Mobile's moving in. They've already, the lease is signed, they have the keys. We have two more that one we're real close on and another one we're working hard on.
Yeah, and so what happens is this. Since we have done this, we have found a spurt in interest in the center. Because they say if we're interested in the center, then the tenants will be interested in coming. And the ones we're looking at are ones over here that, a lot of it has confidentiality that we've had signed. Hopefully within maybe next week, I'll give you another new one that's coming down here. So we have interest in the center, and just announcing that we're doing this has brought people in.
Also,
And good tenants who are going to be able to be here, and they aren't going, they're national tenants.
also, we do have a website. It's our Crafton Ingram Shopping Center.com. The Boy Scouts came to us. We're gonna let them do a car cruise in the shopping center to try to bring people in. And we're going to, once this is really, you can see it, we're gonna be working on more marketing and trying to bring people, show them where the shopping center is.
But they have to be able to find it.
Yeah.
Well, we want to help you with that signage, we do, but I'm sure you have a lot more to tell us. So I'll just hold back on my questions and let you proceed, because you've got more to say, right?
Well, I would like to talk to you about.
Yes, please do.
I'd like to talk to you about the construction schedule, which we haven't touched.
Yes, yes.
You're up at that?
I'm really fast, so. Our plan, and we've already started.
PJ Dick is the contractor.
Yes, yes. I'm
This is
Krista Baines.
Krista.
So our plan, which we've already started, was to work on the Ingram side first, starting at Rite Aid and moving down towards Fallis. And we've begun the demolition process, so we took the signs off today along that storefront and started tearing down the facade, the underside soffit, so that's a work in progress. And then we'll be moving over to the Crafton side. Our goal is to be finished by the end of November with everything.
Wow.
So, yeah, you should see a lot of changes in the next month or two.
Are you gonna address the pigeon issue at Fallis?
Yes, we are. I don't know, at some point, maybe a renovation happened and the end cap of the
Right.
parapet was left open.
Yeah.
So yes, that will be addressed with this update.
We have had a major pigeon problem for the last umpteen years. We begged and we pleaded with people to stop feeding the pigeons in the middle of the parking lot, and that was the issue. So finally, miraculously, they've stopped. I've had bird control out there now for 4 years, coming out twice a month. They finally, the pigeons seem to be gone. I haven't seen a pigeon. And we're going to do an abatement to get rid of
Okay,
all the stuff.
okay, yeah, because that was the issue, was all the other stuff.
The stuff is there, and hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, the stuff will be gone.
Great, that's
Yeah.
great news.
Yeah, it's considered a hazardous material. so
Exactly, it is.
We can't even do demo
Right, it
there
has, it's
until.
a hazardous
They
material.
say-
So,
They have a group that put in a price, they're sending me, and my bird control people do it too, so.
I just was curious.
yeah.
Don't feed pigeons.
Yeah, don't worry about it, I don't.
And by the way, is there anything we can do during construction, because it's going to be a pain in the neck, to ease the borough, or any problems that you have during construction? For example, we found out last summer we were about to start in the middle of Ingram days, and that didn't work, so we delayed everything, and it let that go. So if you have something like that, you know, please let us know, so we can work around it.
I'm available.
Yeah, we like to communicate.
Screws, keep the screws off the pavement, keep the screws and nails, pop tires. probably one of the
Yeah.
biggest things that we had to
Okay,
deal with.
screw some tire, okay.
Yeah.
And the hours of construction,
I think the borough rules are seven is the earliest, 7 to 7. If I'm,
That's correct.
yeah, so our working hours are 7 to 3:30.
Mhm.
You know,
Are they gonna be working any weekends or anything?
there's possibility,
Because of rain.
yeah. We always use that as a makeup day, Saturdays.
One of the things that we require is there will always be access to all of his stores. Period.
Mhm.
Our stores will remain open during all of this.
Guy, you had questions?
No, I appreciate you coming in here. This is a real godsend to us that, you know, you guys are looking at this and moving forward and, you know, please open up the communications. Anything you need, suggestions or whatever, we want to help as much as we can because you're doing the right thing and it's really going to help all of us.
It appears you have the samples there, or is
They're
that?
here,
Yeah, you
they're
can
here
share.
for you to look at.
That's all
In
right.
fact, why don't I just,
They're heavy.
They're heavy.
they're heavy, so they are heavy?
They are, yeah.
These are, why don't we just tell what it is and then we can go from there.
The original design, the bricks were not available in a timely fashion. So we're changing the bricks. So this has not been selected yet. This is first I'm seeing them. But the renovation of the shopping center really shows the commitment of the Kamen Kalik family to Crafton and Ingram boroughs, to the shopping center. Sam and I are generation 2. There's generation 3 who are involved too. So we're here for the long haul.
Will there be subcontractors coming in from outside the?
Outside of PJ Day?
Yeah.
Yes, we will have subcontractors, a mason, a paver,
Storefront.
yes,
Yeah.
storefront, plumbing, electrical, all of that will be subcontracted work.
Will they be out of state?
No, everybody's local, as far as I know.
And we've given them the, what was Wingstop that didn't work too well. They're using that as their office. And if you need anything, they're there.
Yeah, our
I have
superintendent's
cards,
on
you can always
site.
get in touch with me.
And then can you just touch quickly, I'm assuming that all potholes, all paving, that's all gonna be done as well. Are you doing the entire shopping center?
Well, the answer is.
We're doing the lighting, the
And the
street
paving.
lights
Right,
throughout
I
the shopping
understand that.
center. And we'll be doing repair and fixing up and doing handicap spaces. And then we're gonna go as far as our budget will allow.
The portions in front of the two shopping centers, they're fairly new.
All the
The paving.
drive lanes have been done in the last 4 years.
And I believe we're resurfacing the lot. That was an alternate, so.
We're hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good possibility of resurfacing the lot. That's one of the options. I don't want to promise it.
The lot, though, what are we talking about, the entire lot?
The triangle.
Okay.
The inside of the triangle,
Yeah.
because the outside's done. Last year we did up Ingram Avenue beside Getco. That was the end piece.
So will there be, with regard to the construction, will there be any issues with regard to the number of trucks, the sizes of the trucks, the wear and tear on any of our roads that we need to be aware of?
Really, we won't have many trucks that won't meet residential weight
Okay,
standards.
thank you.
We have a lay-down area at the top right-hand corner of
Right up here.
the plan. That's gonna be our lay-down material storage that'll be protected and locked and, hopefully safe. And, I mean, our dumpsters, they'll be smaller sized dumpsters, so we shouldn't have any issues in that regard.
We really don't want a lot of big trucks coming over our new paving.
That's right.
Right.
None of us do, huh? Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? No?
I want to thank everybody very much then for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
If you have any questions, I'm in the office. Get some cards.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, I want to say it's a very good comprehensive plan.
Thanks.
It showed a lot of thought.
A lot of hours. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah.